Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from the chapter 1, text number 23. And it is entitled Observing the Armies. So now we're really getting around to observing the armies. And this is the one place I think that Krishna actually speaks in the first chapter. So that's quite interesting, significant. Okay, I'll read the Sanskrit for the first one. Yasyatmanam aveksharham ya'iteta samagataha dartarastasya durbudhe yudhe kriya chikirshava. So let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Who's speaking here? This is Arjuna. It is an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans, in collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Anyone know that phrase? Birds of the same feather flock together. Flock together, that's right. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were. But he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face. Although he was quite confident of victory, because Krishna was sitting by his side. Text 24. Sanjaya Vacha Evan Ukto Shikesho Gudikeshin Nakarita Senayor Ubaya Madye Uttapagyat Vatoshame. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudukesh. Gudukesh means, Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudukesh. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna, even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or samadhi. As Rishikesh, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows. Bhishma Drona Pramukhatu Sarvesham Vadakshinam Uvacha Partha Pashaitan Samurvetan Kuraniti. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, the Lord speaking, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. As a supersoul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Rishikesh in this connection indicates that he knew everything. And the word Partha, or the son of Kunti, or Pritha, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was the son of Pritha, the sister of his own father, Vasudeva, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from his son, Pritha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking. Text 5:6. Tata pasyastitam partha pitinartha pitamahan acharyan natutam bratrin putram pautram shikam sata svasturan suridas chaiva sanayora abayorapi. There, Arjuna could see, within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. Purport. On the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Purushottam, who were his father's contemporaries, grandfathers Bhishma and Somadatta, teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya, maternal uncles like Salya and Shakuni, brothers like Duryodhana, sons like Lakshmana, friends like Ashwatthama, well-wishers like Kritavarma, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends. Tan samiksha sakanteya sarvam bandham avashtitan kripaya pashavishto vishtavan idam abravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all the different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna Vacha. Trishtavam svajanam Krishna yayutsam samupashtatam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parushati. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods. whereas the non-devotees, however advanced he may be in material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends, and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them, who had not so decided to fight him, and for them who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he also felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, for seeing their imminent death. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver, and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjuna, had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjuna. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjuna were not due to weakness, but due to his soft-heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said, therefore, Yashasti Bhaktir Bhagavat Kinchana Sarvar Gunishtacha Samasate Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kato Mahaguna Manoratena Sati Davato Vahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. I'm just going to stop there for a moment if we have time to go on to the next verses. Are we going to have to get on this? I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight. I offer my respectful obeisances. So there is one name of Krishna which we've been talking about in the last few weeks, and it was mentioned twice here. Can anyone remember the name of Krishna that we're talking about?
Yes, no. No,
Rishikesh, that's the name. Rishikesh means the master of the senses. So Krishna is the master of the senses. There was a very nice section of a purport about Krishna being Rishikesh before. I'm going to read it out. The Lord is situated. Okay, it's in. It's only a short part, so I won't get you to go back. But it's in 115. The Lord, situated in the hearts of all living entities, directs their senses. And this is the important word. But he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. And in the case of pure devotees, he directly controls their senses. So, another question, who owns our senses? Who owns them? Do we own them? No.
the soul,
No, actually, Krishna owns them.
who is within us?
Pardon?
Who is within us? Yeah.
Yeah, but Krishna is more than just living in us, you know. Krishna is he's the controller of the whole planetary systems. So he's pretty vast, you know, and sometimes it's difficult for us to get a real handle on how great Krishna is. So, but Bhagavad Gita does give us kind of little glimpses on the way. And the soul is also dwelling in the heart as well, with the super soul.
Yeah, super soul.
Yeah. And super soul is constantly with the soul, directing the soul what to do. But the soul ain't listening all the time.
Mm.
The soul is kind of turning the other way, you know, not really more interested in the activities of the mind. Yeah, being directed by the mind. The mind is basically wanting to go here, wanting to go there. That's what the mind does. But actually, the mind thinks that he's the controller of the senses, but the controller is Krishna, and the senses are controlled either by Krishna, or by there's another form of Krishna which can control the senses. Does anyone know what is that other form that controls the senses? It's in 7:14. Daivi yeshe guna mayi mama maya duratyaya mama maya. It's my maya, Krishna says.
Krishna's energy.
Yeah, Krishna's maya, his inferior energy is controlled by Krishna. So our senses are controlled by, either by karma and by the material energy, or we're hearing from the super soul. And the super soul ultimately is controlling our senses as well. So what are we doing in all of this? I mean, do we have any say in this? We do. Follow? Did somebody say? Follow Krishna? Yeah. That's actually what it is. We have it. We have the ability to follow either Krishna or Maya. That's what we have our ability. If we follow Krishna, then Krishna, to the degree that we're surrendered to Krishna, Krishna directly controls our senses, and then we fully act as a servant of Krishna. We just want to do what Krishna wants us to do, and we're fully acting for Krishna. That's very powerful scenario. Yeah.
So Krishna controls senses only for the devotees, not for
Yes, he does. He controls the senses for the devotees. Yeah. And Prabhupada puts it really nicely here. He says, but he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. It's purport in 115. He directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. And if we want to know, if anyone asks you, what is the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita? What's the main message of the Bhagavad Gita? Anyone want to say what it is? What is it?
finding ways to reach God.
Finding ways to reach God. Yeah, that's
strategy.
It's not exactly, but that comes into it, and it says it in one of the last verses. And it's to do with that word surrender. Krishna tells Arjuna, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. So now the reason I'm getting at this is because that's the ultimate phase in Bhagavad Gita. Now we're not able to just say, okay, I'll surrender Krishna. That's fine. That's a good idea. Yeah, he's the boss, so I'll surrender to him. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen so easily. It's unfortunately.
The mind keeps.
Yeah, the mind keeps chattering away. Don't do this, don't do this, because the mind is like a material covering. And it's saying, do this, do that, go here, go there, and so so we've got to get away from being controlled by Maya to being controlled by Krishna. And we have that desire, and it's often said that the price is the lowlium, is the desire that we have. And the way that we get desire is initially through practice, a holy name. Harinam, 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 it became is by chanting the holy name, both in the morning time on beads, silently, or not silently, but loudly, but to yourself, And if you're fortunate to live in a temple or near a temple, then you have kirtan. We have all the times that we have kirtan here in the temple, and it's like that. And then we have various other opportunities We have, like tonight, we're having kirtan for 2 hours. And that's the congregational chanting, which is very powerful. It's 7 tonight. So these are the ways in which we develop the surrender to Krishna. These are the main ways. Okay, I'm just going to go away from that again because I wanted to just highlight that whole point about Rishikesh. It's such an important point. It keeps on coming up at the beginning. There's another name given here to Arjuna. Does anyone remember what name is given to Arjuna? Partha. Well, Partha is another name, yes, yeah, and that was given here as well. Yeah. And Krishna gave him the name, called him Partha. For what reason? Why would Krishna call him Partha? Because he's the he's the controller of that's also another name for Krishna, Partha. Partha in this, when he calls him in this time, he's talking about his relation to his mother, Printa. Yeah, it's a relation to his mother, because what's actually happening here at this time is very interesting. Krishna is he sees what Arjuna is doing. Arjuna wants to bring the chariot. The battle is about to start, but Arjuna wants to bring the chariot in between both armies. Now, he's doing it for a couple of reasons. One reason is he wants to estimate the strength. Okay, that's clear. He wants to see who he's going to fight. But then there's another reason, and that reason is that he wants to see who he's going to fight. And so Krishna, being God, he knows what Arjuna's actual motivations are. He knows what's happening. Krishna is aware of what's going on. Arjuna is about to go in front of the enemy, but he's going to see who the enemy is. And the enemy are all his friends and relatives and brothers, sisters, or sisters, but brothers and grandfathers, cousins. They're all there. They're all there in front of him. So you can imagine what's happening. There's a whole transformation starting to happen. He's starting to see all these people. He's thinking, I'm going to fight these people. I'm going to have to kill these people. These are all my relatives. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport that he's a very kind-hearted person, because, like, you can imagine that on the other side, Duryodhana is there, and he's looking at his brothers, and all these people that he knows, but he's not feeling any type of compassion there. He's kind of saying, "Will I be able to kill them or not?" So he's got this. So Krishna is showing the different natures. So Prabhupada is highlighting in the purport the different soft-heartedness of Arjuna. Later on, he'll say that Krishna will call him a fool. Why are you doing this? You're a shakti. You should fight. So that these things are happening at the same time. There's lots of different things going on. And this is a really amazing thing about Krishna, and because we were talking about the vastness of Krishna earlier on. And one of the amazing things that we're talking about Krishna is that his ability to facilitate contradictions, right? Because Krishna is, he's the greatest. You could say he's the greatest moralist in a sense. Krishna, we're getting morality from Krishna, but then we know that sometimes Krishna doesn't seem to be a moralist, and that's because the level on which we are to understand God is greater than our ability to discern things in our current situation. It's much, much greater. And that's what all of these books are about, to try to bring us to that level, to see above the parapet, it's kind of warlike terms, but to see above what's actually happening that we think is happening. Because the amazing thing is, what's actually happening is that we're an illusion. We're not seeing properly at all. We're being covered completely almost. But we're changing that. That's changing. Gradually. We're all changing. That's why we're all following spiritual pathway. But that is an aspect of Krishna which bewilders some people. You have great philosophy professors. They would say, "Well, why are you following Krishna? He should be immoral, but yet he has 16,108 wives." Now, we even know in human terms that sometimes kings might have so many wives. Sometimes they even say, yeah, I've heard at one point somebody having 48 wives or something. I don't know how they manage that, but that is something which is there in history, But if you look at it, Krishna has 16,108, but that's not even a limit. He's unlimited. So that will give us some indication of a different nature that we're talking about as God. Now, the reason I brought this up as well is that, can anyone tell me some of the people, because Prabhupada said in the purport, who were facing Arjuna? Tell me some of the people. I want to get at least five. Who? Grandfather Bhishma. Yeah, okay, that's one.
Ashwatthama.
Who? Ashwatthama. Okay, hold that one, Ashwatthama. I want to hold that one. Okay, yeah. Dronacharya, Kripacharya. Anyone else? Who? Duryodhana, yes. Yeah, and his brothers as well, yeah.
Shakuni.
Yeah, Shakuni, his uncle, that's right. Karna. Was Karna there? No, Karna didn't come on the battlefield till the 10th day, wasn't it? Bhishma, yes. Bhishma, Drona. Yeah. And there was Burishra, wasn't it, as well? That was the relative of his father. But I said to hold on to Ashwatthama because Prabhupada here says that Ashwatthama was a friend of Arjuna. Do you know? So Ashwatthama is a friend of Arjuna. Tell me some of Ashwatthama's activities. Anyone know?
He's a great archer.
Yeah.
He has got the
Okay, that may be, yes. Who is he the son of? Dronacharya, yes.
And the mother is creepy.
The mother is creepy.
So that,
Yeah. So, okay.
and Dronacharya is very attached to his son.
Yes. Dronacharya is very attached to his son. And the son is very attached to his father. Okay. How was Dronacharya killed? Everyone know who Dronacharya is, isn't it? Yeah. Dronacharya. He's the general, okay? How was he killed?
He got false news. Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so he got false news that his son.
He's got false news that his son was killed. Okay, so how was that done?
It is done by the.
Who gave the false news? Who told them about the false news? Krishna. Yeah, Krishna told them to say.
In that time,
Yeah.
the Vaswatthama name of elephant.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
There was an elephant called Ashwatthama.
Yeah.
And so Krishna asked Yudhisthira to tell a lie, but Yudhisthira couldn't tell a lie. Okay, there's lots of things I'm going to get at here, but there was an elephant called Ashwatthama. So Yudhisthira was allowed to say Ashwatthama, and there was when he was saying the elephant, all the bugles and everything went. So, but the only thing that Dronacharya heard was Ashwatthama is dead. So immediately he put down his weapons, and who killed him? Who was born to kill him?
it's Drupad.
Draupadi's son, Draupadi's brother, Drishtadyumna. Yeah. So now there's debate whether Drona was already dead at that time, whether he went into meditation or not, but that's what happened. So we're talking about the moralist here. Krishna is the moralist. So this is an incredible part about Bhagavad because Dronacharya was invincible. That's what Krishna said. You can't kill him. You can't be beaten. But yet, Krishna had come here to write the Yada Yada Yadavasa Rally He came here particularly to really settle the things that were going on. And what was going on here was, as I said on numerous occasions, it was an intergalactic war. Lots of people from the different planet, from the lower planetary systems took birth at this particular time, and they took birth on the Earth. And they lined themselves up in the two different armies, basically. And it was Krishna's time to rid the world, rid the universe of all these demoniac mentalities. Now, they got a good deal out of it because they were died under Krishna, so they got liberation. But so anything to do with Krishna is auspicious. But but Krishna knew that Dronacharya. But yet he took the position to tell the lie, and Yudhishthira had the opportunity to follow whatever Krishna said, and he didn't. So Krishna's going to say the same thing to Arjuna, and he said when Karna was being killed, also Krishna said, "Just kill him now. You can only do it now. If you don't do it now, you won't be able to." So this is God, So Krishna is, as I say, he's the master of all types of seeming contradictions, and that's only God can do that. We can't do that, you know. Only God can have 16,108 wives, but in fact, we're all ultimately Prakriti in that sense. We're all, in that sense, female in comparison to Krishna is the supreme male, Purush, in that sense. So in that sense, we're all, female in comparison to Krishna. But again, that's something which we don't see now. But it is which is real. So Ashvatam is another one of these very, because Prabhupada said he's a friend. But yet, when his father was killed that way, he took unbelievable revenge. Like it seems to be that the revenge that he took was totally disproportionate in that sense. But that this was the nature of what was going on, and this is the nature of the material world. Arjuna's 5 sons, sleeping sons, were killed. All the sons of the Pandavas were killed, and not only that, but his grandson was also Ashvatam flung the Brahmastra to kill the baby in the womb, who happened to be Maharaj Parikshit. And it's called Parikshit because it was the time he examines everybody, because at the time he was saved in the womb, he saw this amazing personality who was Krishna when he was being saved by this person. For the rest of his life, he wandered everywhere just to find this person again. Who was this? Where's this person? That's why it's called Parikshit, because he examined everything. But Parikshit is the person that Shukadev Goswami spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam to. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is our vision in the darkness of Kali Yuga. Those who want to leave this material world shall get light from this Purana. Krishna said, because Krishna left at the end of all of this, he left, but he left after him the Bhagavatam, which is the light for Kali Yuga, in which we shall get light from this Purana. And Bhagavad Gita is like so important because the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is all about the scenes from the Mahabharata, and like all those particular ones I mentioned are there. Now, Mahabharata, according to Madhvacharya, unfortunately, there has been some corruption in the text. People have added things. I was at a class recently and someone told me about this character who was supposed to have been there at a particular time, and then I just kind of checked. And I checked. It's firmly believed that he was there, but actually he wasn't. It was some character somebody put into the Bhagavatam for their own particular reasons. But Bhagavatam's, what's in the Bhagavatam from Mahabharata, that's authentic. That's completely accepted by all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The whatever is there. Now there are so many other things which aren't in there, which are also, but it's just to give you a little bit of warning in that sense. I'm quoting here from I read an animal actually who's done numerous studies and is currently doing a study on Mahabharata. But what is in the Bhagavatam we can totally accept. All that is there, because sometimes there's different interpretations about Arjuna, about Ashwatthama, even about Krishna, in all of these things. But when we go to Bhagavatam, that's actually where it's all resolved. We can accept everything there as 100% accurate. Okay, I'll just stop. Is there any comments? Anyone would like to ask any question to what we were reading there, or any of the question? Okay, because there's still two verses that we're going to read, but basically the main points that we're covering today are that Arjuna asks Krishna to bring him in between the two armies to estimate their strength, but also he starts to waver when he sees all his relatives. Krishna knows that's what's going on in Arjuna's heart. Therefore, he calls him Pritha. So, because the son of Pritha is meant to be a very noble person, he's not meant to get all wobbly in a military situation. He's supposed to be a warrior. So Krishna is jokingly referring to him as Partha. Oh, Partha, why do you want me to do this? Why are you going? Krishna knows well why he's going. And Arjuna is starting to actually wobble when he sees all the people there. So these next two verses, which is 29 and 30, are about that. So here we go. We'll read these two. You can follow them. It's 129 and 130. Vipatuscha sharire me roma harshascha jayate gandivam sangsate ashtat twachchaiva paritajate. Arjuna says, my whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. So this is all happening. Arjuna is right in between the armies. There are two kinds of trembling of the body, and two kinds of standings of the hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow, Gandiva, was slipping from his hands. And because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life. Text 30. Na chashat no yayash tat tom ramateva chame manaha nimityani chat pashyami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Purport. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield, and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam Tritipiniveshita Shat is in the Bhagavatam 11:2-37. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna, in showing ignorance of his self, his real self-interest by Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu and Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be the cause of lamentation for him. We actually have a whole chapter in the, at least one chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, and I was saying that that's about the Mahabharata as well. And it's the time when Yudhishthira, it's an incredible scene. Yudhishthira, it's at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and I don't know, figure 64 million people have died, or some huge amount of people have died. And Yudhishthira thinks, it's all my fault. Just because I wanted to be king, all these people are dead, you know. So you can imagine what he was thinking. Like he's seen all these people are dead, and just so that he could be the king. So he's completely overwrought. He doesn't know what to do, you know. And Krishna's there with him. So even apparently, Krishna couldn't console him. Even Krishna can't console him. But no, this is Krishna's plan. Krishna's got something else in mind. What happened next, can anyone tell? No, that's actually a good answer, but no, it's not necessarily the answer in this particular situation. Because in that sense, ultimately Krishna takes all our karma, you know. Otherwise, we'd be going on forever with our karma and creating more karma. And he does it through the medium of the spiritual master. That's another topic that we were talking about 434. But no, let's just stick with this. Okay, I'll say what happened next, and this is in the Bhagavad Gita as well. He was totally inconsolable, basically. So, but there was one person who still wasn't dead. There was two persons actually, but one particular person we've already mentioned here who wasn't dead. Can anyone think who it was? At the end of the battlefield, I think Duryodhana had completely died. But this one other person who had the ability only to die when he chose. Who? Bhishma. Yes, Bhishma. So Bhishma was lying on a bed of arrows. Yes. So Bhishma was lying on this bed of arrows, and Krishna brought Yudhishthira to the location where Bhishma was, and so Krishna again, he achieves many things at once. Bhishma wanted to die only when Krishna was in front of him, because his wrestle with Krishna was on the battlefield. This was, even though he made some mistakes, but he's still he's called one of the Mahajans. But still, Krishna broke his promise to Arjuna just so that Bhishma would be satisfied. Like, he made Krishna break his promise. It was such a powerful interaction between living entities. And Bhishma threw down his arm and saw Krishna running towards him with this big wheel and ready to kill him. And Arjuna was dragging, no, you can't, Krishna, you gave your word of honor not to. And but Krishna was going to kill him, because otherwise Arjuna would have been killed. And the only person who could have killed Arjuna was Bhishma. So Krishna again achieved the impossible. He broke his own promise to please his devotee. He pleased Bhishma because Bhishma wanted to see him in battle, because he's in the chivalrous wrestle. He wanted to see him in the battle. And then at the very end, he brought Yudhishthira to hear Bhishma's last words. And Bhishma, of course, one explanation is that all the blood had drained from his body. In other words, he had made so much of an error of judgment because he was under the, he was under the tutelage of Duryodhana, and he was being fed by Duryodhana. He was in his power. But when all that went, when all his blood had drained, Bhishma was a great yogi, of course. He was just lying on the bed of arms, but he wanted to see Krishna before that, and so Krishna appeared himself. So Krishna achieved the, what Bhishma's desire was, but then Bhishma started to preach amazing philosophy. The whole philosophy is there in the Bible. I think it's 17th or 18th chapter of the Canto 1. And so he was able to console, because he was on the other side. He said, no, Yudhishthira, do not take responsibility for this. This was meant to be. This had to happen. You were just an instrument in the fight. You were chosen by Krishna to take this responsibility. So therefore, there is absolutely there's no karma on your side. And in fact, you've acted in the best possible way by doing this. And then eventually that Yudhishthira was a little bit satisfied. So we're going to see something similar with Arjuna, but we'll have to stop there. And next week we'll be going at least from text 31 to 35. So remember, we've left off where Bhishma, that Arjuna is reeling. He's losing it basically, and we're going to see what happens next. Okay, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. So